The Andy Griffith Show, 1960 to 1968, is one of the most cherished television classics, known for its timeless humor, wholesome values, and the unforgettable characters of Mayberry. But behind the iconic smiles, many of the actors who brought these beloved roles to life faced heartbreaking tragedies. In this video, we honor the talented stars of the show who have sadly passed away over the years. From sudden and unexpected losses to long struggles with illness, we delve into the lives of these actors, remembering their unforgettable performances and the legacies they left behind. Join us in celebrating the memory of the cast who made the Andy Griffith Show a true American treasure. Andy Griffith, born on June 1, 1926, played Sheriff Andy Taylor in 1960 at the age of 34. On screen, he was the calm, moral center of Mayberry, dispensing wisdom with a smile, but off-screen, the truth was far messier. Griffith, fiercely protective of his image, clashed bitterly with writers and producers, often demanding script rewrites or threatening to quit if control slipped from his grasp. His squeaky clean persona masked a darker side, two volatile marriages marred by infidelity and emotional cruelty, especially his first, which ended in a scandalous divorce after allegations of verbal abuse surfaced. He was reportedly distant from his adopted son, Andy Jr., whose struggles with alcoholism and estrangement haunted Griffith in private. Colleagues described him as moody and controlling, with some accusing him of deliberately sabotaging co-stars who upstaged him, Don Knotts among them. Rumors persisted about Griffith's involvement in backdoor deals to kill spin-offs he didn't star in. He died on July 3, 2012, from a heart attack at age 86. Don Knotts, born July 21, 1924, took on the role of Deputy Barney Fife in 1960 at age 36, charming audiences with his jittery nervousness and comic timing. But the real Knotts battled demons darker than his hapless character ever hinted. Plagued by anxiety and depression since childhood, Knotts struggled with hypochondria, often convinced he was dying. His personal life was chaotic, two failed marriages, including one to a woman who accused him of emotional manipulation and obsessive control. His daughter once described him as distant and consumed by fear, retreating into work to avoid real intimacy. Though adored by fans, Knotts frequently clashed with directors and was said to have a sharp, biting temper when challenged. His exit from the show was surrounded by controversy, with rumors that Griffith had pushed him out to reclaim the spotlight. Later in life, Knotts developed an addiction to sleeping pills and battled macular degeneration. He died on February 24, 2006, from pulmonary and respiratory failure, aged 81, his smile hiding a lifetime of anguish. Frances Bavier, born December 14, 1902, became Aunt B. Taylor in 1960 at age 58. She was the gentle matriarch on screen, but behind the scenes, she was notoriously difficult. Colleagues whispered about her explosive temper and icy aloofness. She kept to herself, often refusing to speak to cast members unless required. Her strained relationship with Andy Griffith was an open secret. She once reportedly slapped him during an off-camera dispute about her character's relevance. Bavier never married, and rumors swirled about a broken engagement in her youth that left her bitter and reclusive. After the show ended, she withdrew almost entirely from public life, becoming a hoarder in her decaying North Carolina home, surrounded by cats and garbage. Her final years were marked by paranoia and isolation. Neighbors said she believed people were spying on her through her television. She refused visitors and died alone on December 6, 1989, from heart failure at the age of 86, leaving behind a house filled with filth, regrets, and unanswered questions. Howard McNeer, born January 27, 1905, stepped into the role of Floyd Lawson in 1961 at age 56. His barber was quirky and harmless, always ready with a rambling tale, but McNeer's real story was one of heartbreak and deterioration. A respected radio actor, he struggled with memory lapses and erratic behavior well before his 1963 stroke, which left him partially paralyzed. Producers controversially kept him on the show, often propping him up in scenes, drawing criticism for exploiting his condition. Behind closed doors, McNeer was known for unpredictable outbursts, reportedly throwing a script across the room when lines were rewritten without his input. His wife privately admitted he became emotionally distant and angry as his health declined. Isolated and humiliated, McNeer became addicted to painkillers and tranquilizers, numbing both body and mind. Crew members said he often cried between takes, haunted by the loss of his abilities. He died on January 3, 1969, at the age of 63 from complications of another stroke, a tragic end to a career quietly shattered by illness and despair. George Lindsay, born December 17, 1928, was 36 when he joined the cast as Goober Pyle in 1964. Behind Goober's goofy grin was a man simmering with frustration. Typecast early, Lindsay was never able to shake the image of the simpleton mechanic, a reality that embittered him deeply. Despite a booming laugh and southern charm, he was often combative with fans, once punching a man who mocked his accent at a public event. His relationships were turbulent. He never remarried after a short-lived marriage that ended amid accusations of domestic violence and infidelity. Lindsay was known to drink heavily, with cast members recalling slurred speeches and missed rehearsals. A failed bid for a dramatic career left him despondent. One failed audition for a serious film reportedly ended with him yelling, "I'm not just Goober, damn it." By the 1990s, he was depressed, battling diabetes and heart issues, rarely leaving his home. He died on May 6, 2012, from heart failure at age 83, his legacy marred by the bitterness of a man trapped in a caricature. Annetta Cors was born on November 3, 1933, and took on the role of Helen Crump in 1963 at the age of 30. As the poised and intelligent schoolteacher, Helen became Andy Taylor's steady love interest, though off-screen. Cors was allegedly entangled in a long-running, secret affair with Andy Griffith himself. Despite his marriage, rumors of their behind-the-scenes relationship swirled for decades, with insiders claiming that Griffith's possessiveness kept her career tethered to him. Though praised for her natural charm on screen, Annetta struggled with career stagnation, rarely landing major roles after The Andy Griffith Show. Her personal life was shrouded in mystery. She never married, had no children, and kept much of her history closely guarded, fueling speculation of heartbreak and personal sacrifice. Colleagues noted her increasingly reclusive behavior in later years, and whispers of strained relationships with other cast members persisted, particularly over her closeness to Griffith. Annetta Cors died on November 6, 1995, from cancer at the age of 62. Hal Smith, born August 24, 1916, was 44 when he began portraying Otis Campbell, the lovable town drunk, in 1960. On screen, Otis was harmless and humorous, but off-screen, the irony was sharp. Smith battled alcoholism privately for years, reportedly drinking heavily while publicly portraying a comic alcoholic. While Disney later hired him extensively for voice work, insiders claim he was often passed over for on-camera opportunities due to his offstage reputation and unpredictable moods during recording sessions. Though fans adored his jolly image, crew members described him as melancholic and withdrawn between takes. His marriage deteriorated quietly in the background, with whispers of infidelity and emotional volatility that never made headlines. Smith also developed a reputation in the industry for being difficult to manage. His mood swings and erratic behavior at times clashed with his wholesome public image. As he aged, his health faltered, and work offers dwindled. Hal Smith died from a heart attack on January 28, 1994, at 77. Jack Dodson, born on May 16, 1931, joined the Andy Griffith Show in 1966 as Howard Sprague at age 35. His character, a meek and socially awkward county clerk, mirrored some of Dodson's off-screen insecurities. Though he later transitioned to Mayberry RFD, Dodson struggled to escape the shadow of Sprague, often typecast and overlooked for more dynamic roles. Behind the polite persona lay deeper frustrations. Dodson reportedly clashed with producers over the creative direction of his character and quietly resented being relegated to comedic sidekick. His marriage to actress Mary Dodson was fraught with professional jealousy and long periods of estrangement due to conflicting careers. Rumors circulated that he coped with growing career disappointments through excessive drinking, something discreetly managed by his inner circle. Health issues plagued his later years, with declining roles and dwindling public attention. Jack Dodson died of heart failure on September 16, 1994, at the age of 63. Paul Hartman, born March 1, 1904, joined the Andy Griffith Show in 1967 at the age of 63 as Emmett Clark, the droll fix-it shop owner. Although Emmett was a mellow and low-stakes character, Hartman's off-screen life was anything but serene. A vaudeville star turned respected TV actor, he secretly struggled with alcohol dependency, an issue that led to frequent clashes with producers over tardiness and slurred lines, which eventually got him quietly pushed out of several projects before Griffith. His career had seen meteoric highs in the 1940s with a Tony Award win, but it sharply declined after a messy divorce and scandal involving an affair with a young chorus girl from one of his shows. Hartman's personal life remained chaotic. His relationship with his only son was strained after the boy publicly accused him of abandoning the family during his mother's illness. Bitter, lonely, and dealing with heart problems, Paul Hartman died of a heart attack on October 2, 1973, at the age of 69, with few of his former colleagues attending his modest funeral. Hope Summers, born June 7, 1902, was 59 when she first appeared as Clara Edwards in 1961, playing Aunt Bee's sweet yet nosy best friend. On screen, she was the image of warm, matronly comfort, but her private life painted a stark contrast. Summers never married and lived a largely solitary life in Los Angeles, known among theater circles for her stern temper and perfectionism that alienated fellow performers. Rumors circulated about a long-forgotten love affair in her early career that ended in scandal, resulting in a pregnancy that she terminated in secret, something unthinkable to reveal publicly in mid-century Hollywood. Colleagues spoke of her cold demeanor on set and her sharp criticism of younger female actors, whom she reportedly saw as competition. Though she enjoyed some career highs in radio and early TV, she never escaped the spinster stereotype, both on screen and off. Summers suffered from chronic depression in later life and became increasingly reclusive. She died of heart failure on June 22, 1979, at the age of 77. Jim Nabors, born June 12, 1930, was 32 when he debuted as the bumbling yet lovable Gomer Pyle in 1962. Known for his guileless charm and deep baritone singing voice, Nabors became an unexpected household name. Yet behind his public persona, he faced vicious Hollywood gossip, particularly concerning his sexuality. In an era hostile to openly gay entertainers, Nabors was the subject of cruel tabloid rumors, including a widely circulated, and entirely false, story about a secret marriage to Rock Hudson, which damaged both their careers. Although Nabors later legally wed his longtime partner in 2013, for decades he endured industry blacklisting and typecasting that crippled his momentum post-Gomer. He fought severe depression through the 1980s, compounded by a near-fatal hepatitis B infection contracted via a contaminated shaving razor during a hospital visit. The illness ultimately led to a liver transplant. Nabors died on November 30, 2017, at age 87, from complications related to that transplant, having spent his final years in quiet isolation in Hawaii, far from the fame he once feared. Betty Lynn, born on August 29, 1926, was 35 years old when she stepped into the role of Thelma Lou in 1961, portraying Barney Fife's ever-patient sweetheart. On screen, she exuded warmth and quiet charm, a counterbalance to Barney's nervous energy, but behind the scenes, Betty wrestled with the deep scars of a youth marred by trauma. She rarely spoke about it publicly, but Lynn once revealed being sexually assaulted by an armed intruder as a teenager, an event that haunted her and shaped her cautious approach to Hollywood. Her career, while seemingly wholesome, was slowed by persistent rumors of her being difficult due to her refusal to engage in the casting couch culture rampant at the time. Despite her kind persona, Betty had rocky relationships. One particularly toxic affair with a much older studio executive ended in emotional breakdown. She never married, and by her later years, she lived alone, estranged from several close friends after a bitter legal dispute over a property inheritance. Betty Lynn died on October 16, 2021, at age 95, from an undisclosed illness. Joseph Crean, born July 15, 1883, was 78 when he appeared briefly as a townsman in 1961, a minor cameo in a long and complicated Hollywood journey. While often dismissed as a background actor, Crean had a prolific career, appearing in over 300 films. However, he was blacklisted in the late 1940s during the Red Scare due to alleged communist sympathies, claims he denied but which irreparably tarnished his reputation. He spent years scraping together work under aliases, occasionally sleeping in his car between gigs. Bitter and disillusioned, Crean blamed backstabbing younger stars and a cutthroat system that discarded loyal workhorses like him. His second marriage ended in scandal after his wife publicly accused him of verbal abuse and hoarding money in offshore accounts to avoid alimony. His estranged daughter later wrote a memoir accusing him of emotional neglect and psychological manipulation. Crean passed away on April 15, 1966, at age 82 from complications of pneumonia, virtually forgotten by the industry he once helped build. Dick Elliot, born on April 30, 1886, played Mayor Pike in 1960 at age 74. On screen, Pike was bumbling but endearing, an old-school symbol of small-town charm. Off-screen, Elliot's image as the jolly older man masked a volatile private life rarely discussed. In his early stage years, he was notorious for drunken outbursts and reportedly slapped a young co-star during a backstage quarrel. Though he mellowed in his later years, some crew members on the Andy Griffith Show whispered about his condescending treatment of younger actors and his refusal to redo scenes, citing age and dignity. Elliot had a string of failed investments that left him nearly broke by the 1950s, and he often took minor roles just to stay afloat. His wife, long suffering from his alcoholism and unpredictable moods, quietly separated from him in 1958, though they never formally divorced. Elliot died on December 22, 1961, at age 75 from natural causes, but sources close to him suggested years of liver issues were exacerbated by decades of quiet binge drinking. Jack Burns, born November 15, 1933, joined the Andy Griffith Show in 1965 at 32, taking on the unenviable task of replacing Don Knotts as Deputy Warren Ferguson. His character, awkward and overly eager, never resonated with audiences, leading to his quiet dismissal after just 11 episodes. Burns never forgave the producers and often lashed out in interviews, claiming sabotage and backroom politics led to his removal. His bitterness turned personal. He frequently roasted Griffith and Knotts in his stand-up routines, earning a reputation for being vindictive. Burns struggled to find steady work after the show, despite some success in voice acting. Behind the scenes, he battled a gambling addiction that drained his finances and led to several lawsuits over unpaid debts. He was also known for his abrasive behavior on set, reportedly berating junior writers and once throwing a script at a director during a heated dispute. Jack Burns died on January 27, 2020, at the age of 86 from respiratory failure, having spent his last years in quiet seclusion, estranged from many of his former collaborators. Joseph Hamilton, born on January 1, 1899, appeared as Chester Jones in 1961 at age 62. While his character was a soft-spoken community member, Hamilton's real life had darker undercurrents. Once a rising stage actor, He was blacklisted in the late 40s for alleged communist ties during the Red Scare, rumors he vehemently denied but which led to a near decade of unemployment and depression. He was known among colleagues for his biting sarcasm and paranoia, often accusing co-workers of sabotaging his lines or reporting him to producers. His one marriage ended in scandal when his wife, an aspiring actress, sued him for emotional abuse, citing his violent temper and gaslighting behavior. Hamilton died on February 20, 1965, at age 66, officially of heart failure, though close friends said his years of chain smoking and untreated mental illness had worn him down far earlier. Roy Engel, born on September 13, 1913, was 49 when he played a townsman in 1962. Though always in the background, Engel's rugged voice and tall frame made him a staple of westerns, but behind the scenes, he was fighting his own wars. Known to drink heavily between takes, Engel once caused a production delay after arriving too intoxicated to deliver a single line. He had a short fuse, too, throwing a chair at a stagehand in 1964 over a wardrobe complaint. His first marriage ended abruptly when his wife found out he had been supporting a second family in another state, a scandal hushed up by the studio to avoid backlash. Engel rarely spoke to his children in later years, and it was said he died virtually alone. He passed away on September 29, 1980, at 67 from undisclosed causes, though unofficial reports hinted at complications from cirrhosis linked to his years of alcohol abuse. Alan Melvin, born on February 18, 1923, was 39 when he played Clarence Doc Malloy in 1962. While known for his comic timing and voiceover work, Melvin's career was shadowed by industry whispers that he was a brutal perfectionist. He frequently clashed with directors, once storming off a set after being asked to redo a scene, and was blacklisted from one production company for allegedly threatening a junior producer. His marriage to actress Amalia Faustino was marked by repeated separations, reportedly due to Melvin's gambling addiction and rumored affairs with extras on sitcom sets. Despite a public image of good humor, he was allegedly controlling behind closed doors, even forbidding his daughter from pursuing acting. Diagnosed with cancer in the early 2000s, Melvin kept his illness private and died on January 17, 2008, at 84 from cancer, having carefully curated a legacy that hid much of the turmoil behind his laugh track persona. Denver Pyle, born May 11, 1920, was 43 when he first stomped onto the Andy Griffith Show as Briscoe Darling in 1963. Briscoe was the loud, moonshine-loving patriarch of the Darling family, but Pyle's real life mirrored the rough edges of his role more closely than fans might have hoped. Though praised for his work in westerns, Pyle's off-camera world was riddled with contradictions. He was a staunch conservative in Hollywood's liberal circles and was rumored to have funded right-wing militia movements in the 1980s. His two marriages ended poorly, one in a scandal involving infidelity with a young actress, the other in a quiet but bitter legal battle over property and royalties. Industry insiders often called him difficult, accusing him of bullying younger actors and pushing for rewrites to expand his roles. He was also the target of a hushed sexual harassment allegation by a female crew member during the filming of a later TV project, an accusation buried in the #MeToo era. He died on December 25, 1997, at age 77, of lung cancer. Howard Morris, born on September 4, 1919, began playing Ernest T. bass in 1963 at age 44. On screen, Morris was electric, wild-eyed and erratic, yet beloved, but off-screen, the chaos bled into real life. Morris battled crippling anxiety and had a reputation for sudden emotional outbursts, even once walking off a voice recording session mid-script, leaving producers scrambling. Despite his brilliance, directors dreaded working with him due to his micromanaging tendencies and explosive perfectionism. His romantic life was equally turbulent, marked by 2 divorces and an affair with a much younger co-star that reportedly ended with a restraining order. He became reclusive in later years, avoiding reunions and refusing interviews. Colleagues say he was haunted by a deep sense of failure, despite his popularity. Morris died of heart failure on May 21, 2005, at the age of 85, a brilliant comedic mind ultimately undone by his own intensity. Charles Thompson, born on January 2, 1891, was 71 years old when he took on the role of Asa Brainy in 1962. Asa, the slow-moving, near-deaf courthouse regular, was a character that seemed harmless, but Thompson's off-screen story told a different tale. Known for his reclusive lifestyle, he deliberately avoided the press, and for good reason. During the height of McCarthyism, he was quietly blacklisted for his earlier associations with leftist theater groups. Though his name never appeared in the headlines, his career stalled for nearly a decade. Rumors swirled about a bitter divorce in the 1940s that left him estranged from his only child, who reportedly refused to speak at his funeral. Thompson spent his final years battling depression and hoarding tendencies, rarely leaving his home. Former colleagues whispered of his combative temperament on set, especially when his lines were cut or if younger actors received attention. He died on October 26, 1979, at the age of 88 from complications related to a stroke. Parley Bear, born on August 5, 1914, took on the role of Mayor Roy Stoner in 1962 at age 48. Known for his booming voice and authoritarian presence, Bear was in truth a conflicted man. Though married for over 50 years, insiders say his marriage was marred by infidelity, including a long-term affair with a voice actress he met during his radio days. A devout man publicly, he secretly battled addiction to prescription painkillers after a back injury in the 70s, an issue he denied even as his health visibly declined. He reportedly lashed out at younger co-stars, calling one a punk who doesn't know craft, and was once accused by a crew member of discriminatory remarks on set. His declining mental health in his final decade led to isolation and estrangement from some family members. Bear died on November 22, 2002, at age 88, due to complications of a stroke. His final years were quiet but clouded by regret and a sense of unfinished reconciliation. Maggie Peterson, born on January 10, 1941, was just 22 when she began portraying Charlene Darling Wash in 1963, a sweet, naive mountain girl with a golden voice. Though her wholesome image won her fans, insiders knew her as a woman tormented by Hollywood's darker side. Her early career was stifled by controlling managers and a secret struggle with body image issues, allegedly pushed by a producer who insisted she lose weight or lose roles. Though she later married jazz musician Gus Mancuso, their union was anything but tranquil. Rumors of his gambling problems and financial mismanagement haunted them for years, nearly bankrupting the couple. Peterson, once vibrant and hopeful, withdrew from acting after a series of failed pilot projects and was quietly let go from a sitcom after an alleged nervous breakdown. She never spoke publicly about the anxiety and depression she faced, but close friends noted her reclusive later years. Estranged from most of her family and having lost her husband in 2021, Peterson died on May 15, 2022, at age 81, after battling a long illness. William Keane, born August 4, 1915, was 48 when he appeared as Reverend Hobart M. Tucker in 1963. On screen, Reverend Tucker was a calm, moral guide, but Keane's life was anything but orderly. Though respected for his guest roles, Keane never achieved fame, and the resentment reportedly festered. He was known in TV circles for his sarcastic bitterness and had a reputation for lashing out at casting directors when overlooked. Married 3 times, all ending in divorce, Keane's relationships were volatile. His second wife accused him of emotional abuse in court documents that were later sealed. Friends spoke of his deep loneliness, masked by a manufactured public grace. There were whispers of a secret drinking habit. He often arrived on set already buzzed and once had to be written out of a live taping due to slurred lines. In the 70s, he quietly settled a lawsuit involving an extra who claimed Keene verbally assaulted her on a set. Despite these incidents, he remained on the fringes of television until his health began to fail. He died on May 23, 1992, at the age of 76. Who's your favorite character in the Andy Griffith Show? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.